Yumin had a lot she wanted to say to Hyunju, but couldn't bring herself to open her mouth. Afterwards, they went to see the nearby scenery and took a group photo, in one of which Hyunju was slightly turned away. He looked awkward as if he wasn't used to this sort of thing, and Yumin noticed. She immediately grabbed his hand and pulled him fully into the frame. The photo captured everyone smiling, while Hyunju's gaze was quietly on her. As night fell, the two girls got the special treatment of not having to do anything, just resting inside the tent. The two of them just gossiped about random stuff, nothing special. Outside, Hyunju was in charge of grilling the meat. While the others sat around the table, Yumin called out to him saying there was enough food and he should sit down with everyone. But he insisted on finishing the grilling. Yumin looked like she wanted to say more, but Taegun gently stopped her. He always does everything himself, don't worry. Curiously, Yumin tilted her head and asked, "Hey, you and Jihyun just started dating, right? Why didn't you two just come alone?" Jihyun laughed, saying she preferred going in a group, the more the merrier. Taegun chimed in, "I'm just glad Hyunju agreed to come. He hasn't really gone out these past few years." Yumin muttered, "How can that be? He must have gone out with his girlfriend, right?" But Taegun revealed the truth. He's never had one. I've never seen him talk about women that way. Yunmin's eyes widened. She was about to correct him that Hyunju had dated before, but just then, a plate of noodles was set down in front of her. She looked up, and Hyunju was standing there, silently shaking his head as if telling her to keep quiet. After dinner, everyone sat around drinking, except for Hyunju, who was the designated driver. Taegun and Jihyun went out for some fresh air, leaving the two of them alone together in the room, making the atmosphere a bit awkward. Yunmin finally asked, "Why doesn't Taegun know you used to have a girlfriend?" Hyunju quietly replied, "Because I've never told anyone but you." His answer was unbelievable to her. In 4 years, he hadn't told the junior he worked with. "Why? That's not your business," he said. But the more she thought, the less she could understand. The way he hid the relationship, his lack of confidence, always doubting himself, and the way he always kept to himself, perhaps that relationship had hurt him more than she imagined. And if that's true, he shouldn't get back with his ex. But if he gives up, her plan will fail. And she couldn't let that happen, especially after finding out her own ex-boyfriend lives in the same building as Hyunju. She wanted to ask for more of his help, but the words got stuck in her throat. Seeing her silent, Hyunju leaned in closer. "What's wrong? Is something the matter?" Her mind was drifting. She couldn't give up. Not yet, at least. Maybe she needed to change the plan herself. She forced a weak smile. "My chest feels a bit tight. I probably ate too much." Worried, he gently patted her back, his eyes full of thoughts. She sat beside him, lost in thought. She instinctively looked up, her gaze meeting Hyunju's. He would understand. They exchanged a look, an indescribable emotion. A relationship that couldn't be put into words. "We're just using each other anyway." After that day, Yunmin started meeting Hyunju near his neighborhood. She said it was because her ex lived nearby, plus the area had many new cafes, so they visited a few places together. She even saw some cats there. For some reason Hyunju couldn't understand, she insisted on walking him home every time. She felt guilty for using him, but for now, she had to stick to the plan. One day, Hyunju was sitting in his living room. Looking at his phone, he wondered when his neighborhood had become so trendy. He had taken so many photos of Yunmin, not to post on social media. He had already dismissed the thought of getting back with his ex, but Yunmin's photos looked so beautiful. She looked genuinely happy, smiling in one picture. He thought he should send these photos to her. And just as he was about to, the person in the photo suddenly called. He answered the phone. They hadn't planned to meet tonight. Yunmin brought some sweets from her favorite shop, just to give them to him. Hyunju was confused. She came all this way just for this. She told him to eat the cake before bed to sleep better, so he wouldn't need to take walks at night anymore. Where did this theory about eating cake to sleep well come from? Hyunju was grateful and said he would enjoy the cake. After giving him the box, she left. He stopped her, smiled, and told her she could come to the restaurant anytime, and he'd make her whatever she wanted. After she left, Hyunju stood there for a moment, wondering why she had come so late at night. Then he heard a voice behind him. He turned around and saw Kim Isun carrying a drunk friend on his back. The drunk guy glanced at Hyunju, called him handsome, then pointed at the bag in his hand and asked what was inside. On instinct, Hyunju clutched the bag to his chest. He didn't want to let go of the cake box Yunmin had brought him. Meanwhile, Kim Isun also noticed the bag and recognized the cake from Yunmin's favorite shop. Before his friend could cause any more trouble, he quickly dragged him away. Hyunju stood frozen in place. Frowning, he tightened his grip on the bag. In the days that followed, every time the restaurant door opened, Hyunju would look up, hoping it was her. But each time he was disappointed. That day, he had even prepared a special dish, but she still didn't show up. She must be busy, he thought. She hadn't even texted him lately. He wondered if he should be the one to reach out. At the office, Yunmin was in fact very busy. Her phone buzzed. It was her mom, chiding her for not visiting home in a while, saying she was only seeing friends. Then she added that if she's so free, she should go find a boyfriend. "Just don't pick someone like that, Kim Isun," her mom added. Yunmin rubbed her temples. "Mom, even though we broke up, but Kim Isun isn't the kind of person you think he is." Her mom brought up what happened 8 years ago, before they were even dating, when she would visit the hospital daily to care for her teacher, Kim Isun's father. Before they were even dating, she would visit the hospital daily to care for her teacher, Kim Il-soon's father. She took care of Kim Il-soon's father like he was her own family, and her mom had been nagging her about it for 8 whole years. To do all of that, only to break up in the end. What mother wouldn't be heartbroken to see her daughter go through that? She promised to visit soon, hung up, and slumped onto her desk, muttering that this was why she never wanted to go home. Her phone buzzed again. She thought to herself, could it be mom calling again? She checked her phone. This time it was Hyun-ju. He was asking if she was okay. She hadn't stopped by the restaurant or texted him, so he was worried. Yumin was touched, replying that she had meant to come but got swamped with work. Hyun-ju asked if she wanted a late-night snack, saying he could bring some over. Not long after, Hyun-ju showed up at her office. She broke into a bright smile. He looked radiant. Yumin stared. He really was glowing like that after a long shift. He brought all kinds of snacks with him. Yumin eagerly dug in. She was starving after so many hours of overtime. Then Hyun-ju took out a bag full of pastries and handed it to her. She paused. This too? She was already overwhelmed by all the food. Did you make all this yourself? He said he'd just started learning to bake a few days ago because she had mentioned she liked sweets. Yumin stopped chewing mid-bite. He learned from me? Hey, no way. She looked up at him in surprise. He nodded without a hint of hesitation. He told her to taste it and give him her feedback. Yumin thought to herself that for him, it probably wasn't a big deal. He was a chef after all. If it were anyone else, she might have read into it, but if he was this kind to a friend like her, then what would he be like with someone he truly loved? She joked that if she were his girlfriend, she'd probably nag him to cook for her all the time. But Hyun-ju calmly replied that he wouldn't consider it nagging if he loved someone, he'd do anything for them. He would handle everything so they could be free and just love him back. Then he leaned forward, speaking hesitantly as if to himself. When you love someone, don't you want to take care of them and protect them? You want to feed them delicious meals. You want to do all the heavy lifting for them. In a way, I want to protect their daily life, so they don't have to worry about a thing. He asked her if she thought that was weird, but Yumin didn't answer right away. She just looked at him quietly, wondering the same thing. Hyun-ju was only 16 when his parents divorced. He was still in high school at the time. And although they still supported him financially, from that day on, he had to take care of himself, living all alone. He often wondered if they truly loved him like they said. Would they have just left him like that? But when he asked Yumin if his way of loving was weird, she was silent for a moment before gently saying, everyone has their own way of showing love. That's his way, and there's nothing strange about it. But she added that she was worried if someone were to date him. They might get used to him always giving unconditionally and end up taking advantage of that. One day, he'd get tired of not being appreciated. Hyun-ju gave a small smile. He praised her for catching on so quickly, admitting he's been wondering lately if things would be different if he'd loved his ex differently. Would the outcome have been better? Could it have been my fault? Clearly, when he first met Hong So-young, she wasn't like she is now. After 4 years together, did I spoil her so much that I turned her into an ungrateful person? Yumin suddenly grabbed his shoulders, startling him. She told him not to think that way, not to blame himself. Even as they walked to the parking lot, she kept repeating it. Love is a two-person affair. It's never just one person's fault when you're both in it together. Yumin continued lecturing Hyun-ju about love, saying he had already blamed himself too much. Of course, even after saying all that, I still want to blame your ex-girlfriend. Huh, what was that? You just said it's not one person's fault, but what's wrong with me being on your side? This caught him off guard, and he stared at her. So I'm the one you're siding with, Min? Biased? She smiled, saying of course, and that he probably was too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought me these delicious desserts, right? Hyun-ju quietly agreed. Maybe she was right. In fact, Yumin was the first female friend he ever had. He went to an all-boys middle and high school, always hung out with his guy friends, and then entered the culinary industry, a place where most of his colleagues were older. By the time he started dating Hong So-young, he didn't even want to hang out with other women, so Yumin was different. She wasn't just a friend. She was the first female friend in his life, and maybe that's why he saw her differently from everyone else. It could also be because she was going through something similar. She understood him in a way others couldn't. Suddenly, Yumin remembered something. Taegun had suggested the group go see cherry blossoms like last time, but instead, she turned to Hyun-ju and said they should go alone. He was startled for a moment, then understood what she meant. Another fake date, of course. He nodded in agreement as she suggested it. The park in front of your house has a lot of cherry blossoms. Let's go see them bloom. Have you been there when the cherry blossoms are in bloom? She fell silent, thinking. I went to that park every spring with Kim Il-soon. Then he asked, you like cherry blossoms too? The question made Yumin pause. Her thoughts drifted back to that day, the day she met him under a shower of petals. She snapped back to reality and said softly, I used to like them. At Kim Il-soon's house, his drunk friend from the other night greeted him. As he glanced into the room, he saw a family photo on a shelf. Yumin was in it too. The friend raised an eyebrow, asking why he still kept that photo when she had left him. Kim Il-soon calmly replied that he still considered her family. His friend wondered, she clearly loved you more, so why did she dump you? But Kim Il-soon remained calm. Who knows, she must have had her reasons. I can't really ask Yumin about it. Kim Il-soon even planned to call Yumin first. His friend asked, what? I thought you said you had no lingering feelings. How could I not have lingering feelings? To me, she's like a family member. His eyes were full of thought. If we had gotten married, we would be family by now. Meanwhile, at Hyunju's restaurant, Taegun came over with news that a large building nearby was being renovated. I just heard from a customer that a famous chef is building a restaurant there. Taegun worriedly said it might affect their business, but Hyunju didn't seem too concerned. As they were talking, a customer walked in. Taegun went to greet them but suddenly stammered, making Hyunju turn around. The moment he saw the person, his eyes widened in shock. It was his ex-girlfriend, the famous actress Hong So-jung. She stood near the entrance, her eyes scanning the room as if looking for him. The customers started whispering as two famous actresses entered the restaurant. Hyunju noticed but immediately turned back to focus on his work. Taegun was excited. "Hey chef, did you see that? It's the first time we've had celebrities in our restaurant." Hyunju just gave a short nod and told him to handle the kitchen. "I'll go take their order," he added. Taegun's face fell. So much for his chance to talk to a celebrity. Hyunju walked over to the table with water and menus, calmly following his usual routine. One of the actresses with her asked Hong So-jung what to order, since she was the one who recommended the place. But Hong So-jung turned to Hyunju. "What do you recommend?" "It's actually my first time here," she said. Hyunju paused and looked at her, his mind flashing back to years ago when he was designing the menu. He had asked for her opinion. He had cooked every single dish for her, but she was always tired. She just waved her hand and said, "Just make whatever. It's all delicious. What are you so worried about?" before heading into her room to unload her frustrations from the day. She never showed any interest in the dishes he worked so hard on. Hyunju sighed. He suggested a few dishes, took their order, and returned to the kitchen without a second glance. Hong So-jung quietly watched him go. Her two friends wondered how she knew about a restaurant tucked away in an alley. She replied that a friend told her about it a long time ago. "But I've only just managed to come here now." In the kitchen, Taegun was still sulking about missing his chance to meet a star. Hyunju silently apologized. "I've waited for this day for so long," he admitted to himself. "And now that it's here, it doesn't even matter anymore." The special guests finished their meal and were about to leave, both happy with the delicious food. Hong So-jung stopped at the kitchen door, glanced inside, complimented the food, and said she would come back again. Hyunju didn't answer. He didn't even turn around. As if to himself, he muttered, "Don't come back. I'm not waiting for you anymore." Later, in the car, Hong So-jung sat with her assistant, who was also Kim Isun's sister, and asked if she had bought the bag from Yumin's store. Hong So-jung casually said she bought it simply because she liked it, adding that she had just met Yumin privately for drinks. She even suggested the three of them, Yumin, herself, and the assistant, get together sometime. The assistant was surprised for a moment but quickly declined. She even suggested the three of them, Yumin, herself, and the assistant, get together sometime. The assistant was surprised for a moment but quickly declined. She explained that her brother is Yumin's ex-boyfriend, so meeting up now would be a bit awkward. This only made Hong So-jung more curious. She recalled their previous meeting where Yumin said she didn't have a new boyfriend yet because she wasn't over her ex. She leaned in, asking with interest, "Really? What happened between them?" Elsewhere, at Yumin's office, she walked in, bringing coffee for everyone, and announced that her phone had been ringing off the hook. She quickly pulled out her phone, guessing it was a work call or maybe from Hyunju, but when she saw the name on the screen, her expression immediately changed. It was probably her ex calling, "I bet you anything." Later, Yumin sat in a cafe, waiting nervously. She looked visibly anxious and couldn't sit still. A light tap on the table pulled her from her thoughts. She looked up. It was Kim Isun. He smiled and greeted her, and instantly, her mind went blank. Every time she saw him smile like that, she couldn't think straight. It all started in high school, 13 years ago. The first time Yumin saw Kim Isun smile like that was just like this moment. Back then, she froze, completely captivated by the handsome boy. He was the son of her homeroom teacher. Years later in college, she was lying exhausted on a bench under the cherry blossoms. Then he appeared again. He rushed over to ask if she was okay. At first, Yumin called out his name in a daze, as if dreaming. Then she woke up fully, realizing it was really him. He had actually just seen someone on the bench and came to check on them. But what surprised him was that this girl knew his name. Yumin explained that his father was her homeroom teacher in high school. Everyone remembered him, especially the day he visited the school. The girls went crazy. But until now, she didn't know they went to the same university and regretted not realizing it sooner. That day felt like fate. It was as if she had reunited with her first love under falling cherry blossom petals, his sunny smile melting Yumin's heart all over again. He took the initiative and asked for her number so she could call him if she ever needed anything. A chance reunion with her first love under the cherry blossoms, it was inevitable that Yumin would fall for him. After that, they continued to run into each other. At first, it was accidental. Then it gradually became intentional. Her feelings grew over the years. But it was only on Yumin's side. He even helped her critique her art assignments, praising her hard work, which made her heart flutter. Gradually, she realized he talked to many other girls too. He even complained that he was tired of answering all their questions, calling it a hassle. Yumin joked that maybe he should just date someone. At least you wouldn't get so much attention. Just date me, handsome. But Kim Isun didn't think that was a good reason to date someone. They talked a lot, sharing laughter, little stories, and long conversations. But soon, Yumin realized the truth about their relationship. She wasn't her teacher's only student. His sweet words weren't just for her. It was simply a part of his warm personality. His gaze was gentle but distant. He treated her well but never took the initiative to hold her hand. She had mistaken that friendliness for something more, but the truth was she wasn't special to him. He was the one who was special to her. That was the reality of this one-sided love. It's so painful, everyone. He wasn't just warm and kind to me. He was like that with everyone, which made me misunderstand and think I was something special to him. One day, she and Ji-hyun planned to visit their old teacher, but Ji-hyun had something urgent come up and couldn't go. So Yumin went alone. When she pushed the door open, she saw Hyung-yu lying unconscious on the cold floor. She froze as a fear from her past flashed back. As a child, she had also witnessed her father having a stroke. Lying motionless, the sound of her childhood screams echoed into the present. She rushed over, calling her teacher's name. She immediately took him to the hospital. Sitting alone quietly outside, Yumin was in a daze from what had just happened. Suddenly, a gentle voice whispered, "Yumin." She looked up. It was Kim Il-sung. Her eyes welled with tears, and without a word, she just burst out crying. Kim Il-sung silently stayed by her side. A few days later, Kim Il-sung met her at school. His father was still in a coma, but was out of danger. Yumin started blaming herself for not arriving sooner, for wasting time talking to Ji-hyun. She was trembling that day. Kim Il-sung gently hugged her, saying it wasn't her fault. She had saved his father. Her heart fluttered again, and she hated herself for feeling that way in a moment like this. Finally, when his father woke up, Yumin volunteered to stay and help, even though both Kim Il-sung and his father objected. Her mother scolded her for being foolish, but only Yumin understood how much sense this decision made. She wasn't doing it all out of selflessness. It was just an excuse, a way to stay by Kim Il-sung's side, to make him fall for her. This realization pained her. Her love was calculated and not as pure as she had imagined. She even helped his younger sister prepare for her entrance exams. But throughout that year, she never really knew what he thought of her. And to be honest, she was too scared to ask. Time passed, and eventually, his father recovered enough to be discharged from the hospital. His sister suggested taking a family photo, and both she and their father invited Yumin to join. They already considered her family. Yumin hesitated, but Kim Il-sung took the phone from her hand and gave it to someone else. Then he casually put his arm around her shoulder. The photo was taken while she was still frozen, her eyes fixed on his hand on her shoulder. After that, they were busy with their final year. They still met occasionally, but nothing changed. But as graduation approached, Yumin grew more anxious about what would happen after they got jobs. There probably wouldn't be any more chances to meet. Sitting on the bench where she had met him again, she muttered to herself, feeling endlessly sad. She didn't want to graduate. Il-sung approached with 2 cups of coffee and asked, "Why do you look so sad?" He asked, "Is your graduation project not going well?" Yumin shook her head. "I'm scared of what comes after." He looked at her for a moment, then turned away with a faint smile. He had planned to wait until after graduation when he had a stable job to ask, but now he felt this was the right time. He turned to her and asked, "Do you want to go out with me?" Yumin froze. "Wait, you mean you want to be my boyfriend?" He nodded before she could say anything else. Yumin threw her arms around him. He was a little startled but remained calm, unlike her heart, which was pounding like crazy. She knew he hadn't asked because he liked her, but she was determined to make him fall in love with her. And so, they started dating. Even though she knew he didn't have feelings for her yet, their relationship was comfortable and stable. Kim Il-sung wasn't passionate, but he was calm and thoughtful. And eventually, he said that he liked her, and then that he loved her. Yumin believed him, as Kim Il-sung wasn't the type to lie. But then one day she overheard him on the phone, saying he'd never truly had feelings for her. He was telling a friend. Her trust shattered in that very moment, and now, she was sitting across from him. She wondered why he would contact her again after their breakup if he'd never had feelings for her. So does he regret letting her go now? Kim Il-sung asked how she'd been and congratulated her on her recent success. He explained that he wasn't sure if calling her was the right thing to do, as he wanted to respect her decision to break up. But when he saw her the other day, he felt happy and decided to call. Confused, Yumin asked, "When did you see me?" He replied that he had seen her eating with a man at a restaurant. She froze. Wait, that ridiculous plan actually worked? The fake dates with Hyunju actually did something? She could just imagine Hyunju's face when he found out their efforts hadn't been for nothing. Il-sung was silent for a moment, clearly hesitant, then asked, "Can we be friends again like before?" She looked up at Il-sung in silence. Her feelings at this moment were hard to describe. On the other side of the city, Hyunju was sitting in a restaurant, waiting for a friend. His eyes were glued to his phone, constantly checking for messages. He had asked Yumin when they were going to see the cherry blossoms, but she hadn't replied. "She's still at work. She's going to get sick at this rate. Maybe I should bring her something light and nutritious." He worried silently. Ladies, if you have a boyfriend as caring and thoughtful as this, hold on to him tight. Don't get so used to being pampered that you take it for granted, because by the time a man turns and walks away, there's no way to hold him back. Just then, the friend he used to work with walked in. He immediately started nagging that. Hyunju was ignoring him as usual, not even bothering to listen. Hyunju put his phone in his pocket. He said that his friend hadn't changed much either, but the friend looked genuinely happy to see Hyunju doing better. "You look a lot brighter," he said, surprised. "I thought you'd be a wreck after the breakup." Then he asked if Hyunju was planning to get back with her, seeing how he had been dressing up lately. But Hyunju admitted that she had recently come to his restaurant. Hearing that, his friend's expression changed completely. He frowned, clearly annoyed. "Don't even think about getting back together with someone so manipulative," he warned Hyunju. Hyunju sighed. "You're right. I don't even know why I dated her for so long," he quietly reflected. At first, he was drawn to her innocent appearance, but inside, she was strong and resilient, unafraid of anything despite her difficult circumstances. She never gave up on her dreams, and he thought she had her own way of showing love, but now he wasn't so sure. Until recently, he still had feelings, but now everything has become blurry. His friend nodded. "That's normal. Everyone's like that after a breakup." Then, after a moment's hesitation, he confessed that he had honestly never liked her. "Not even before her debut, when you introduced us," he continued, saying that Hyunju had always supported her from the start, even after she became successful, and in return, she should have treated him better. "It was so frustrating watching you get hurt over and over again." Hyunju sighed again. "She was a good person," he replied, then paused. The friend got even more upset. "Good? What's so good about her? You always had to pretend to be her manager when you were with her." "That's because of the nature of her job. You can't blame her," Hyunju explained, still defending his ex. "My man. She was like that even before her debut. Who even knew who she was back then? And did you two ever even date properly? Traveling together, taking pictures together. You never even did that. Were you ever able to be yourself in that relationship?" It was like his friend was venting all of Hyunju's frustrations for him. The words struck a chord within him, and he fell silent. Remembering how he'd seen Yumin, he also felt frustrated. She had looked so down. Now he understood how his friend felt. He let out a small huff. "You're right," Hyunju admitted. His friend looked at him, genuinely surprised. "Since when did you start thinking so much about yourself?" Hyunju gave a faint smile. "Lately, I have a friend who's going through something similar to me. Maybe I understand things better now." His friend squinted. "Is this new friend a girl?" Hyunju didn't answer right away, and that was enough. The friend cleared his throat. "So, it is a girl. That's a surprise. You've never mentioned any other girl before." Hyunju blushed, and his curious friend started firing questions. "Same age? What does she do? Is she pretty?" Hyunju's gaze softened, and he raised a hand to rub his neck, a little shyly. "She's hardworking, friendly, and most importantly, she's honest with her feelings." The friend stared at him. "You're clearly not just talking about a friend." Hyunju immediately denied it, but his friend wasn't convinced. He leaned in a bit, pointing straight at him. "If you don't get it, could you just stop with the nonsense, seriously? I'm not the type to get all shy and awkward when talking about friends, right?" Hyunju argued. "Don't say that anymore. I already told you we're just friends." His brother warned him in a stern voice. "Fine, I'll leave you be, but this time, please. Don't go pouring your heart out to someone again." "Got it." Hyunju sighed. How could he explain that the girl was struggling even more than Min to get over her ex? He had started to see her as more than a friend, but from the way she reacted and talked about her ex, he knew she didn't see him that way. That evening, Yumin finally replied to Hyunju's message. She asked him to go see the cherry blossoms the next day. Maybe go for a bike ride too. She also said she had something to tell him. He was lying in bed. Hyunju read the message, wondering what she wanted to say. He texted back, admitting he didn't know how to ride a bike. She quickly replied, "I'll teach you. I'll hold the bike for you." But that made him laugh. She was so much smaller than him, how could she possibly hold him up on a bike? He smiled to himself, but then his friend's words about how he smiled when talking about her echoed in his head. And just like that, the smile vanished. He lay back down, his usual expression returning. The next evening, Yumin arrived at the park. As expected, the place was full of couples. She cursed every couple for loving cherry blossoms in the spring like this. "Why don't you all just break up?" Soon after, Hyunju arrived. His expression was gentle, and he had a smile on his face, a stark contrast to his usual grumpy self. He looked much brighter today. That made Yumin a bit flustered. Thinking back, he really had been smiling a lot more lately. Since the park was too crowded, they decided to take a walk first. Yumin hesitated, unsure how to start, but eventually told him that she had gotten a call from her ex-boyfriend yesterday. That made Hyunju stop in his tracks. She continued to explain that Kim Isun had seen them together. And even though he didn't seem jealous, it meant their plan was working, right? But Hyunju remained still. His expression was hard to read. Then he asked softly, "Are you getting back together with your ex?" Yumin didn't notice the change in his tone. She replied that it wasn't like that. He just wanted to be friends again. "Friends?" His voice turned sharp and cold. Yumin was startled. He stepped closer. "Both you and I know we're not the type of people who can be friends with an ex." I agreed, and now it was clear in his eyes. He was angry. That day, when Kim Isun suggested being friends again, Yumin was also stunned. It wasn't like him at all. He wasn't the type to do things without a reason. She used to think she understood him, but this confused her. What confused her even more was that she didn't feel sad. There was a time she had hoped to get back together, but now she felt nothing. Then he said his dad missed her, and if they became friends again, she could visit like before. And suddenly it all made sense. That was his reason. But she had agreed to be friends again anyway. That was yesterday, but today she was confused again. This time because of Hyunju's reaction. She said softly, "We decided to be friends." Hyunju stepped closer, whispering, "But you once said you still had feelings for him. How can you be friends with someone you still have feelings for? Isn't that even more pathetic, like having a secret crush on a friend?" Yumin stared at him. His words stung. They were harsh even if they weren't entirely wrong. Hyunju suddenly seemed to realize what he had just said. He blinked, confused by his own reaction. Why did he say that? Why was he angry? He bowed his head. "I'm sorry. I misspoke. I was rude. I was wrong." Yumin clenched her fists. "Are you saying that because you're jealous?" she asked. "Because I'm making progress with my ex, and you're not." Hyunju flinched slightly. Was that it? Was he really upset because of that? He wasn't sure. Maybe that was why he reacted that way, so he believed her and apologized again, gently telling her to look up at him. But Yumin couldn't. He had been cold before, and it didn't bother her then because they weren't close. But now it hurt. His words hurt as she remained silent. Hyunju knelt in front of her, apologizing again, this time looking straight into her eyes, his gaze sincere. Yumin turned away, annoyed. "Get up, let's go, people are staring." She walked ahead, muttering that his way of apologizing was weird, but she wouldn't forgive him that easily. He trailed after her. He tried to explain that he wasn't good with words, and that was the only way he knew how to show his sincerity, to make up for it. He offered to cook anything she wanted. At first, Yumin acted uninterested, but soon she asked if she could choose something that wasn't on the restaurant's menu. "Just let me know in advance," Hyunju replied, looking relieved. He thanked her for not holding a grudge and accepting his offer, while she still acted annoyed. "Don't think I've let it go. When I teach you how to ride a bike, I'm going to take it out on you." After that, Yumin gave him a brief instruction on how to ride a bike. It was so brief that Hyunju looked at her in amazement. Wasn't this something even a 5-year-old would know? She took out her phone to record. While he immediately regretted impulsively agreeing, he tried his best. He listened to her nagging and followed her instructions, and eventually, the video captured him riding the bike pretty well. But then a puppy suddenly ran into his path. His bike wobbled, and he fell flat on the ground as Yumin rushed over in a panic. The dog's owner hurried over, apologizing profusely, but Hyunju didn't look up. He said he was fine and told the person to go. Yumin looked closer and saw he was covering his face, probably embarrassed, so she also told the man to leave. After the person left, Hyunju still didn't look up. "You should go too," he mumbled, but she didn't leave. She took his hand, pulled it away from his face, and froze. There was blood on his chin. He tried to wipe it away, saying it was just a scratch, but she held his face and scolded him. "You call this a scratch?" she said, examining the wound. He flinched slightly at her touch. She glanced around, muttering about finding an open pharmacy. Maybe the convenience store has bandages. As she was muttering, he suddenly grabbed both of her hands, the ones cupping his face. But for a few seconds, they just looked at each other, realizing what they were doing. Yumin quickly pulled her hands back, her face blushing. She mumbled an apology. She didn't mean to touch him so freely. She was just worried. Hyunju didn't say anything. He looked just as flustered. Then he stood up, saying they should stop here. No more practice. He walked the bike, stepping ahead. Yumin watched his face, now hard to read. Was he trying to ignore her? The next day, at Yoonmin's office, Ji-hyun asked everyone to go out for lunch. Yoonmin suggested they could go to Taegun and Hyunju's restaurant, and everyone agreed. The whole group went there. When they arrived, Yoonmin glanced towards the kitchen where Hyunju was standing. Their eyes met for a moment, and she silently mouthed the question, "Is your chin okay?" Hyunju gave a slight nod and immediately turned away. She wanted to ask if he was hurt anywhere else, but didn't get the chance, so she quietly sat down. A few days later, she happened to see a newly opened place in Hyunju's neighborhood. She wanted to ask him to go check it out with her, so she texted him. But he replied that he was busy tomorrow. She asked about Sunday, but he said he had other plans. When she asked when he would be free, he just said he wasn't sure and would let her know. A few days passed. One evening after work, Yoonmin went to dinner with Ji-hyun. As they sat together, Yoonmin scrolled through her sent messages while chatting. Hyunju even had the video of him learning to ride a bike for the first time with her cheering him on, yet he hadn't replied. She sent another message asking if he knew when they could meet. The only reply, "Not yet." At this point, she really started to wonder if he was avoiding her. He seemed distant at the park that day too. Did I do something to upset him, or is he just really busy? Lost in thought, Yoonmin was startled when Ji-hyun called her name. Ji-hyun asked if she wanted something to drink. Yoonmin declined, saying she wasn't feeling well. Now Ji-hyun was worried. Noticing that Yoonmin had been staring at her phone a lot lately, Yoonmin just laughed it off, saying it was probably just the change in weather. So her body felt a bit weak, but she wondered to herself why she was looking at her phone so much that Ji-hyun would notice. After they finished eating, they went for coffee nearby, and a little later, Taegun joined them. Yoonmin asked in surprise, "How come you were able to leave the restaurant so early?" Taegun explained that business had been slow because a new place opened nearby. That made Yoonmin pause. So if Hyunju wasn't busy with the restaurant either, what was the reason? Stepping outside, she finally called him. After a few rings, he picked up. Her first question was whether his wound was okay. Hyunju said it was fine and asked, "Why are you calling when you're with Ji-hyun and Taegun?" She said she wasn't feeling well and left early. Hearing that, Hyunju immediately asked worriedly, "Are you sick?" She reassured him, "It's nothing, I'm just a little tired." Finally, she dared to ask what was bothering her most. "Did I do something to upset you? I feel like you're avoiding me." Hyunju sighed softly, covering his face. He said he hadn't been sleeping well lately, with too much on his mind. Yumin nodded. "Then let's meet when you feel better," she said gently. Before hanging up, Hyunju asked, "Once you get home, you'll go straight to bed, right?" She replied, "I'll probably work a little and then rest." He told her to take care of herself and hung up. Yumin let out a soft sigh. At least now she knew he wasn't ignoring her, and if he said so, she believed he wasn't the type to lie. After getting home, Yumin worked for a while when her phone buzzed. It was Hyunju. He texted that he had left medicine and ginger jam at her door. He had even made the ginger jam himself with lemon and honey for her to make tea with. She stepped outside and saw the package just as he'd said. He also apologized for coming unannounced. After leaving the bag, Hyunju headed back to his car but stopped when he heard Yumin call his name. She ran over, panting, and asked, "Why come all this way and not come in?" Hyunju frowned, saying she was sick and shouldn't be outside. But Yumin explained it would be rude to let him leave without at least saying thank you. Then she hesitated for a moment before inviting him up to her apartment. The sudden invitation stunned Hyunju. It stirred something in him, but he also hesitated. Then he leaned forward slightly. "Isn't it a bit late for me to come up?" Only then did Yumin realize what she had just said, and she quickly apologized, flustered. Hyunju let out a small laugh at her reaction. "Go on in, I'll leave after you're inside." She smiled at him again, waved, and disappeared into the building. But as soon as the door closed behind her, her legs gave way. She slid to the floor, leaning her back against the door. Her heart was pounding. What is happening? And why do I feel so hot? On the other side of the parking lot, Hyunju slumped over the steering wheel in his car and let out a breath. Yumin wasn't the only one feeling strange. "Why did I come at this hour?" he muttered. "If I decided to avoid her, why did I come?" A few days ago, after falling off his bike, he went home, showered, bandaged his chin, and lay in bed, his thoughts racing. Yumin was now friends with his ex-girlfriend. Unlike him, she still had a chance to get back with her ex. He, on the other hand, had let go. And if she started spending more time with her ex, where would that leave him? Now that her ex had shown up, didn't that mean their plan was over? But she also said they were just friends, so maybe they could still meet. That wouldn't be so bad. As he touched his chin, he suddenly remembered her flustered expression from that day. That worried face made him restless. That night, he tossed and turned, his insomnia returning. The next day, when Yumin came to the restaurant and quietly asked if his chin was okay, he felt something stir inside him, familiar yet strange. It startled him, and he quickly turned away. His heart started racing, and he didn't know why. Later, when Yumin texted him about checking out a new place, he felt a sense of relief. It meant their plan wasn't over. But then he stopped himself. Why do I feel so relieved? Unable to understand himself, he became hesitant, and so he started avoiding her. As the days passed, he kept ignoring her texts, but she kept texting. At one point, he wondered, is she just clueless, or does she genuinely not care? Should he reply? But she had gone to the trouble of recording him cycling, so he should at least watch it once. When he opened it, he heard her constantly nagging about everything he was doing wrong, and he smiled. But then he saw something that stunned him. He was smiling in the video, a genuinely carefree smile. Relaxed, without a care in the world. Even he didn't recognize himself. He immediately turned off his phone and set it aside. More confused than ever, and now sitting alone in his car, he thought that. Yumin was starting to lower her walls too, and a moment ago, he'd wanted to accept her invitation. He would have gone up and made her a hot cup of tea, maybe even taken care of her a bit, but then he remembered what he'd once told her. How can you be friends with someone you're in love with? And now he was doing that very thing. He sighed. Maybe I'm a fool too. Let's go home, he whispered to himself. The chilly night air didn't help his jumbled thoughts. Elsewhere, Hong So-young appeared on a famous cooking show. As a guest, she had to tell herself to keep smiling the entire time. She wasn't happy. It was just a job. The next day, she threw up all the food from the shoot. Her assistant rushed over worriedly. "Are you okay?" Hong So-young was sprawled on the sofa. She complained that the food was terrible, muttering she couldn't understand how that chef was so famous. Hyunju was better, more handsome, and a better cook. Just then, her phone buzzed. So-young gave a faint smile and asked her assistant, "I don't have anything else scheduled today, do I?" It was a text from Hyunju. He wanted to meet. The assistant looked uneasy and warned, "I have a bad feeling about this. He hasn't contacted you all week. And now he suddenly messages you." But So-young just waved it off, perhaps out of confidence. Hyunju was absolutely not the type to change, and this time, she would be more understanding. She wouldn't neglect him again. The assistant said nothing, but she knew. What could be more foolish than using the word absolutely to describe a person? Hong So-young blindly believed in Hyunju's love for her because his character had earned her trust. But she had no idea how much her actions had hurt him. At Yumin's office, how much she had caused him to suffer. At Yumin's office, everyone was discussing, offering opinions and debating how to launch the product. At the end of the meeting, everyone discussed, gave their opinions, and debated the plans for launching this product. The meeting ended. Was it really from Taegun or from Hyunju? That soup isn't even on the menu. You like him, don't you, Yumin? Jihyo asked. Like him? Of course I do, why wouldn't I? Yumin snapped out of it. No, I don't like him that way. He's a good person, but… Jihyo frowned. What are you talking about? What does a guy have to do with beef ribs? She's so flustered she's talking nonsense. Then she saw the cup on the table. Yumin, what have you been drinking? Yumin replied, flustered. It's ginger tea. Oh, you had a cold yesterday, so you bought ginger tea, right? How is it? Spicy. Yunmin's face flushed a little. Not spicy. It's subtly sweet and really good. Oh, you had a cold yesterday, so you bought ginger tea? How's the taste? Is it spicy? Yunmin's face flushed slightly. Not spicy, just a little sweet. It's delicious. In the kitchen, Hyunju smiled reading a text from Yumin. It was a picture of an empty soup bowl with a thank you message. He looked very pleased. He told Taegun he was stepping out to make a call and left. Taegun blinked in surprise. It was rare. It had been a long time since Hyunju stepped out just for a personal call. Outside, Hyunju called Yumin to check on her. She said she was feeling much better and had even brought some of the tea to the office. If Mr. Hyunju needs a handbag, let me know. I'll gift you one to cover the cost of the rib soup, she teased. Just let me know if you need one. Haha, Hyunju chuckled. Alright, I'll let you know. Without realizing it, they had started talking like this, sharing things about their work and daily lives almost every day. When Hyunju returned to the restaurant, Taegun stopped him. Why did you send rib soup to Jihyo's company? That's not even on the menu. Hyunju, startled, stammered. Oh, since they're your friends, I thought it would be nice to send them a little something. It wasn't a great lie, but it worked for the moment. Taegun changed the subject. We should post your picture on the restaurant's social media. It could bring in more customers, but Hyunju didn't answer immediately. He didn't like the idea. When he was preparing to open the restaurant, Hong So-jung had told him to avoid attention and not to post his picture online. No media appearances, she had said. It'll be hard to keep things quiet otherwise, and he had promised to keep a low profile. He even turned down customers' requests for photos, but now, none of that mattered. After a long silence, he finally nodded. Okay, post it. Taegun looked like he'd won the lottery. Really? You made the right call. You've been looking much brighter these days. We'll definitely get a positive response. That evening, Hyunju went to the location Hong So-jung had chosen. It was the kind of place celebrities and influential people would choose for private meetings. She greeted him with a smile, as if nothing had happened between them. He sat down, glanced around, and asked, "Are you sure it's okay to meet here?" She calmly reassured him, "It's better than meeting on the street." Then she got straight to the point. "I'm sorry for the thoughtless and harsh things I said when you came to my place. Looking back, I regret it even more," she said, her gaze distant. "If we had chosen places like this back then, we could have had such happy dates." Hyunju didn't reply, just sat there, his posture relaxed, but his eyes fixed on the floor. In the silence, Hong So-jung continued, promising things would be different from now on. "I'll make time. We can meet often like this." Finally, after a long silence, Hyunju spoke. "That day in the alley, I said some harsh things. And the reason I made a social media account, posted pictures," he exhaled, "it was all for you. I knew you were watching. I thought if I made you jealous, you'd come back and say what you just said now." Hong So-jung cut in. "I knew that. I knew you only did it because you were hurt." He looked up, his voice calm. "But the truth is, now that I hear you say it, I don't feel anything." He was even surprised at how indifferent he felt. He slowly stood up. "I asked to see you today to say all this in person, to end things properly. Just keep living and working hard like you always have. I wish you success with your work." She scrambled to her feet, trying to stop him. "Is it because of her?" Hyunju frowned. "That has nothing to do with you," he then added. "Don't contact her anymore. I know you approached her because of me, so stop." She panicked a little. You know her first love was her ex-boyfriend, right? He's my stylist's older brother. Hyunju was a bit startled. Hong So-jung continued. "They come from stable families. But us, we're different. We come from chaos. Someone like her will eventually go back to someone like him." Now he looked straight at her, his eyes full of annoyance. "What are you trying to say?" She didn't hesitate. "Even if she agrees to date you, she'll eventually go back to someone like him. People end up with those who are like them." He pulled his hand away. Putting a stop to her ridiculous theories, he glanced at her one last time before turning to leave. "Don't you dare harm her or her company in any way. Don't." Hong So-jung's face turned pale. "I won't. I would never do that, and I'll wait for you." Hyunju shook his head. "Don't. Nothing will change, so don't wait." She clutched the hem of her skirt as she heard those words. But she still tried to speak. "Then at least don't tell Yumin about this. I'm a public figure. You can do that much for me." He looked at her for a moment, silent, then sighed without another word. He turned and left, slamming the door behind him, leaving her standing alone, on his way back. Her words about Yunmin's first love echoed in his head. Turns out Hong So-jung didn't know. That Yumin was his first love too. But what was the point of telling her now? It's just… the way she said Yumin would go back to her, X bothered him more than he wanted to admit. The next evening, Yumin and Ji-hyun planned to visit Hyunju's restaurant after work. On the way there, Ji-hyun casually suggested, "How about the four of us go for a drink later after the restaurant closes?" Yumin didn't answer right away. She was busy scrolling on her phone when she suddenly looked up. Her smile vanished, and her eyes widened. This time, it was because of the person standing in front of her. Meanwhile, the restaurant was unusually crowded that day. When Ji-hyun arrived, seeing Ji-hyun looking around, Tae-gun walked over and asked, "Where's Yumin? I thought you two were coming together." "She was with me a moment ago, but she couldn't make it in the end," Ji-hyun replied. Tae-gun raised an eyebrow. "Did she have another meeting?" "Well, she could have just invited them here, couldn't she?" Ji-hyun hesitated and then sighed. "It's not just any friend. The person she's meeting is her ex-boyfriend." From the kitchen came the sound of a slipping knife. Hyunju stood frozen, a cut on his finger, dark red blood seeping out. Meanwhile, Yoonmin was sitting in a cafe with Kim Isun. He handed her a piece of paper with Hong So-young's autograph. Yoonmin's eyes widened. "How did you get her autograph?" Kim Isun smiled, amused by her excitement, and explained how he got it. The night before, he went for drinks with some college friends. It happened to be at the same place where Hyunju and Hong So-young were meeting, although Hyunju had gone up to the second floor, an area for private meetings, but Kim Isun still recognized him. He decided not to bother him, and told himself he'd talk to him later. A while later, after chatting with his friends, they started asking about his relationship with Yoonmin. After a few drinks, he got up to leave. A drunk and crying friend tried to convince him to forget his ex, but Kim Isun just replied, "I don't plan on forgetting her," and left. At the exit, he bumped into someone coming down the stairs. It was a woman carrying a bag from Yoonmin's store. But more importantly, it was Hong So-jung, the famous actress, and she looked terrible. She was crying and staggering. She was muttering drunkenly. He tried to help, offering to call someone for her, but Hong So-jung refused. "No one can see me like this," she insisted before her assistant showed up. In the end, she threw up on him, and that's how he got her autograph. But of course, he wouldn't tell Yoonmin that. Instead, he just said he got it by chance. Yoonmin was surprised. "So you asked for her autograph in person? I thought you got it through Hakyung," he asked. "Hakyung? You don't know Hakyung is Hong So-young's stylist," she asked. "Well, come to think of it, I think I've heard her mention that name before." Yoonmin sighed. Even though he's not interested in celebrities, he still managed to get her autograph. He doesn't even care that his little sister is Hong So-jung's stylist. He's always so gentle, but so clueless at times. I can never figure him out. Anyway, he smiled. "If you have time, let's have dinner together." Yoonmin hesitated at first, but since he'd brought her the autograph, it would be rude to refuse, so she agreed. After dinner, Yoonmin went to the bar where Hyunju, Ji-hyun, and Tae-gun were drinking. They all greeted her warmly. Tae-gun leaned forward, curious. "So how did it go with your ex? We were all waiting for you to tell us about it." Yoonmin rolled her eyes. "What do you mean everyone was waiting? Only you two are curious." But then Hyunju, who had been silent, suddenly spoke up. "He's right. I was also waiting because I was curious. About you meeting your ex-boyfriend." His voice surprised her. In the end, Yoonmin ended up telling the story. After listening, Tae-gun immediately jumped in. "He even brought you an autograph. It's so obvious. He wants to get back together, hehe." Yoonmin pouted at Tae-gun. "You don't know him. He was just being polite. It doesn't mean he wants to get back together." While those two were arguing, Yoonmin turned to look at the man sitting across from her. Hyunju was silent again, his eyes staring blankly at the table as if he wasn't listening at all, even though he was the one who had asked. She lightly touched his leg with her foot under the table. Startled, Hyunju looked up. "What is it? Why do you look unhappy?" she whispered. He looked at her for a moment, then quickly looked away. A faint blush flashed across his cheeks. She thought he was ignoring her. Yoonmin touched his leg with her foot again, a little harder this time. But before she could do anything else, he trapped her leg between his. She froze. She leaned in to whisper, "I was just kidding, but you actually trapped my leg." "You started it," he replied softly, while Tae-gun turned to ask, "Hey, Hyunju, what do you think? What do you think Yoonmin's ex-boyfriend wants?" But Hyunju didn't hesitate. "The important thing isn't what her ex wants," he said, looking straight at Yoonmin. "It's what Yoonmin wants," he said, his leg still trapping hers. "So," he asked, his eyes never leaving her, "do you want to get back together with your ex?" She didn't even know the answer herself. Before she could speak, Ji-hyun cut in. "Don't get back with him. Yoonmin should date someone new." She turned to Hyunju for agreement. "Right? Don't you think so?" Hyunju smiled slightly. "Yeah." After saying that, he finally released her leg under the table. Yoonmin breathed a sigh of relief. Now Ji-hyun looked confused. Since when does he smile like that? A little later, when Tae-gun and Ji-hyun went outside for some air, Yoonmin leaned towards Hyunju. "What was that just now?" she whispered. "What if someone saw? He didn't seem bothered. We can just say we were kidding." Yoonmin nodded. "But why does it feel like we're hiding a relationship?" Then she suddenly noticed the cut on his finger. "What's this? It's just a kitchen accident. It's nothing." She rummaged through her bag for a band-aid. "The #1 chef is this clumsy?" He was silent, just watching her quietly. "It's your fault, don't you know? Give me your hand," she said. He paused for a second, then held out his hand. She gently wrapped the band-aid around his finger. "You also got hurt riding your bike. I never knew you were so clumsy." He looked down at the neatly wrapped band-aid. "I'm not usually like this," he said, then glanced at her. He asked about the question from before. "About your ex, what do you think?" Yoonmin scratched the back of her neck. "Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't feel the same way anymore, I guess," Hyunju replied. "Back then, we were both just swept up in our emotions. Then, as if nonchalantly, he added, "And now I've completely ended things with my ex." Yumin looked up. "Really? You've completely ended things with your ex-girlfriend?" He nodded, saying he told her in person. She slightly raised her glass and smiled. "Well then, congratulations. That must have been a difficult decision. But it's done now." Even so, she felt a pang of guilt. Was it because of the picture Hyunju posted on Instagram? "No, it wasn't because of that," he replied immediately. "It seems this whole mess is because of our plan. It's just that I realized I don't have any feelings for her anymore." Yumin nodded slightly. "Okay, so you don't need to post pictures anymore, since the plan is over." "Yeah, but your situation isn't settled yet. Just take your time. It hasn't been 2 months yet. Decide what you want to do about your ex." Deep down, he hoped she would make the same choice he did. "But whatever you choose, I'll support you. I promise that, so let's just leave it at that. That's just you being falsely noble." She changed the subject and showed him a picture. Taegun posted a picture, and the restaurant got packed. "If you become a famous chef, don't forget about me." She teased him, then immediately became flustered. "I'll never forget, and if you're worried, I won't go on TV or anything like that." Yoon-min frowned. "Huh? That's not it. I meant when you get famous, don't forget to bring me along. That's what good friends are for." Right after saying it, she corrected herself. "I'm just kidding. Besides, what are you talking about? If you get a chance to be on TV, you should take it. Why would you refuse?" He looked straight at her face. "Ah, so that's how she is. She's completely different from Hong So-young." When the party was over, everyone split up. Taegun and Ji-hyun went in the opposite direction. Hyunju and Yoon-min walked side by side. He playfully tried to snatch the autograph from her hand from behind. Ji-hyun turned and looked back at them. Hyunju was smiling a genuinely bright smile. His eyes followed only Yoon-min as he laughed and teased her, and Ji-hyun suddenly realized something. Since when had he started looking at Yoon-min like that? Elsewhere, Hong So-jung sat drinking tea, waiting for someone. The person who entered was Kim Isun. She greeted him politely, and he nodded back. Flashing back to a few days ago at the studio. Due to the incident the other day, Hong So-jung happened to get Hak-young's brother's business card. The younger sister wondered. She wondered why her brother hadn't told her about it, so Hong So-young explained. "Actually, something a little embarrassing happened, so I asked him not to mention it," Hak-young said proudly. "Then you don't have to worry. My brother is a man of his word." Hong So-young became pensive. She recalled Hak-young previously mentioning that Yoon-min was her brother's ex-girlfriend. "So the man I met yesterday was him." An idea sparked in her mind. Hong So-jung asked Hak-young for a favor. "I want to properly apologize to your brother for the other day, so I need your help to arrange a meeting." But the real reason was different. After learning he was Yoon-min's ex, back in the present, Hong So-jung smiled brightly. "I wanted to apologize in person for what happened. I already received an apology," he said nonchalantly, "and the compensation from your manager, so I'm not holding on to it." Hong So-young replied, "I heard you only asked for an autograph. But I found it strange you had no reaction when you met me. It seems you're not really a fan." He answered briefly, "My friend is your fan." Hong So-young tilted her head. "The friend you mentioned, is it Yoon-min?" The question made Kim Il-sung freeze. "How do you know her?" Hong So-young smiled. "We met through Hak-young. I guess Yoon-min didn't tell you. I asked her not to mention it. I also know you two used to date. If I had known about your close relationship sooner, I wouldn't have just sent an autograph so casually." She then reached into her bag and took out an envelope as a small gesture. Inside was money for dry cleaning and VIP musical tickets. "It's a small token of my sincerity, so please accept it. Again, I'm very sorry for that day's incident." Kim Il-sung frowned and immediately refused, but Hong So-jung suggested, "At least take the musical tickets. You can go with Yoon-min," she added with a smile that now seemed clearly suspicious. Kim Il-sung asked, "I understand you know Yoon-min, but why did you need to meet me in person?" Hong So-jung, however, explained calmly, "I can tell you still care for her, since you asked for her autograph, so I was hoping you two could get back together." Hidden behind her concern were words that seemed well-intentioned, but deep down, Hong So-jung knew it was selfish and not good for Hyunju, but she had always been selfish. He replied coldly, "Please don't interfere in our relationship." But Hong So-young continued, "Just don't miss this chance. Yoon-min is a wonderful woman who always treats people with sincerity. Even I, as a woman, find her captivating, so I'm sure men feel it even more. I worry that if you wait too long, you'll end up with regrets like me." Kim Il-sung stood up, thanked her for the advice, then left without taking the tickets. But Hong So-jung just casually said as he left, "I'll send them to Yoon-min. If she calls you, just act like today never happened. Just enjoy the show with her." The next day at the office, everyone was happily eating dessert sent from Taegun's restaurant. But Yoon-min immediately recognized these desserts. She had eaten them before. They weren't from Taegun, but from Hyunju. It was the same dessert he'd brought her before. She smiled excitedly and took pictures. Ji-hai watched from across the room, squinting. There was definitely something going on between Hyunju and Yoon-min, and it seemed Taegun didn't know. Curious, she suggested, "Hey, let's go to Hyunju's restaurant tonight. Yoon-min missed out last time anyway." But before Yoon-min could reply, she got a call from Hak-young. She was stopping by to give her something from Hong So-young. Yoon-min was a bit surprised since she hadn't spoken to Hong So-young, but she was receiving a gift from her idol. Though she found it strange, she was also very excited. Ji-hai frowned. She didn't like that Yoon-min was still involved with Kim Il-sung's family. She just wanted Yumin to be decisive and find happiness. Hakyung was downstairs with the tickets for Yumin. Hong So-young's gift came with a note inside telling her to go alone. Bringing the tickets for Yumin, Hong So-young's gift also had a message with a card inside telling Yumin to go see it alone. That night at Hyunju's restaurant, Tae-gun wondered why customer numbers had dropped, especially since last week when he posted his picture. Hyunju chimed in. It was packed. He thought it would be strange if customers kept coming just for the chef's looks. Tae-gun racked his brain, trying to figure out a way to bring the customers back. Just then, Kim Il-soon and a friend dropped by. The two hosts greeted them happily. Hyunju was surprised Kim Il-soon came without any warning. Kim Il-soon's friend eagerly shook his hand and introduced himself. I'm Choi Jung-yu. Our last meeting wasn't very formal, but seeing you now, you're really tall and handsome. Tae-gun politely greeted the two special guests. He wondered, since he'd never seen them before, when could Hyunju have met them? Tae-gun handled the kitchen so Hyunju could entertain his guests. After the meal, Hyunju brought out a special dessert, the very same one he had sent to Yoon Min's office. It wasn't on the menu. Kim Il-soon stepped out to take a call. When he came back, he tried it and remarked, "Wow, this is delicious. You could sell this." When we met last time, I got the impression you really like dessert. Right? The last time we met. Hyunju frowned slightly. It was the day I was helping a drunk friend home and ran into you in front of the building. I saw you holding a bag of dessert, so I figured. Hyunju paused. Maybe I started liking them that day, he replied quietly. Isun thought to himself, this is so good. Yoon Min would definitely love it. After a while, Hyunju excused himself to return to the kitchen. Kim Il-soon's friend asked, who's calling so late that you had to step out? Is it work? Kim Il-soon shook his head. No, it was Yoon Min. That name made Hyunju stop in his tracks. He turned back and gently tapped Kim Il-soon's shoulder. Sorry to interrupt, he said tensely, but who did you say you were talking to? Yoon Min, she's my ex-girlfriend. What's wrong? Is something the matter? Kim Il-soon asked, a little flustered. I just know someone with the same name, Hyunju replied, his voice still calm. The atmosphere suddenly grew tense, until Kim Il-soon's friend laughed. Why so serious? It's a common name. Hyunju nodded slightly. Right. Sorry for the misunderstanding. But as he looked at the man again, his height, his style, his looks, the way he spoke and acted, it all matched Yoon Min's description of her ex-boyfriend. The nagging suspicion resurfaced. His style, his looks, the way he talked, the way he carried himself. Tae-gun called from the kitchen. The restaurant is packed and we need help. It looks urgent. Go now, Kim Il-soon told Hyunju. Yeah, see you later, Hyunju replied, putting on his hat and turning back inside. That evening, Yoon Min went straight home instead of stopping by Hyunju's restaurant. So-young had sent her musical tickets with a note. In it, So-young wrote that since Yoon Min seemed to still have feelings for her ex, she thought the two of them could go see this show together. Yoon Min stared at the note. First, she must have looked so pathetic that Hong So-young thought she was still in love. Yoon Min went straight home instead of stopping by Hyunju's restaurant. So-young had sent her musical tickets with a note. She hesitated, then made the call. If he refused, she thought she would ask Hyunju to go instead, but Hyunju worked on Saturdays. This is what you call still having feelings and wanting to get back with your ex, but having a tall, handsome chef as a backup plan. A win-win situation. The call connected quickly. Kim Il-soon stepped outside to answer. Yoon Min. She didn't want to be too direct. Hey, I was thinking maybe you, me, and Hakyung could meet up for dinner sometime. She hesitated, then made the call. If he refused, she thought she would ask Hyunju to go instead, but Hyunju worked on Saturdays. This is what you call still having feelings and wanting to get back with your ex, but having a tall chef as a backup plan. A handsome one at that. She can't lose. The call connected quickly. Kim Il-soon stepped outside to answer. Yoon Min. She didn't want to be too direct. She thought maybe she, him, and Hakyung could meet up for dinner sometime. Okay, Kim Il-soon replied. How about this Saturday? She stopped in her tracks, actually. I have musical tickets for that day. A musical? Kim Il-soon recalled Hong So-young's words. Since you won't take them, I'll give these 2 tickets to Yoon Min. Yes, I was planning to go with someone. Seriously? Calling him to hint about musical tickets, then pretending you're going with someone else? Yoon Min sat down, not knowing what to say. I haven't decided yet. Then let's go together, he suggested immediately, without hesitation. She let out a breath. But what should we do? There are only 2 tickets, so the 3 of us can't go. The other end of the line said firmly, I said the 2 of us. She probed, what about your girlfriend? She asked because the last time she bumped into him, she heard him tell his assistant that he had a girlfriend. Kim Il-soon confirmed that he didn't have a girlfriend, because if he did, he wouldn't be able to do this. Alright, I'll text you the place and time. Okay, you get some rest. Yoon Min ended the call. She leaned back, sighing in relief. The conversation was harder than she'd thought. She turned her head to the right, thinking about Kim Il-soon. He wasn't the type to beg or cling, so even this much attention was beyond her imagination. She should have been happy. This was the best outcome she could have hoped for. But then, in her mind, she looked to the left. There was Hyunju, silent, just quietly looking at her. Why did she feel so uneasy? Hadn't he already broken up with his ex? He even said he felt relieved. She collapsed onto the sofa. Everything was so messy, especially her own feelings. As planned, on Saturday, Yoon Min met Kim Il-soon. They greeted each other politely and made small talk about how they'd been. Since there was time before the show, They decided to walk around the area for a bit. But for some reason, Yumin felt awkward the whole time. Maybe it was just because they were meeting again after breaking up, but whatever the reason, spending time with her ex wasn't as fun as she had imagined. The awkwardness made her overly cautious. She found herself calculating every gesture, every word, just to avoid saying the wrong thing. And thinking constantly like that was exhausting, especially now that he was right in front of her. So many questions flooded her mind. Did she really want to get back with this person? Or did she simply want to see him try to win her back? She remembered the words etched into her brain, each cold phrase like a fatal stab. He had never been moved by her. From the first time they met until now, lost in thought, she didn't notice when Kim Isun leaned in and gently touched her cheek. "Are you not feeling well? You look a little pale," he asked worriedly. "I'm fine," she replied quickly. But he didn't believe her. He raised his hand again to touch her forehead, and Yumin flinched. Instinctively, she pushed his hand away. "I told you, I'm fine, just a little tired," she said quickly and hurriedly changed the subject. "What were you saying just now?" He paused for a moment before answering. "I was just saying we should go see my father sometime. But only if you want to." It had been a long time since she had seen his father, her former teacher. After a moment, she said, "Okay, let's go." As she walked towards the parking lot, he stood behind, looking down at his hand. The hand she used to hold so tightly was now pushed away. The feeling was strange and heavy in his chest that night. Yumin got home and collapsed onto her bed, exhausted. Checking her phone, she saw a message from Hyunju asking what she was doing. She hadn't told him about meeting Kim Isun, so she replied, "I just met up with my ex, so I missed your message." The next morning, she woke up and glanced at her phone, but there was still no reply. He had read the message but hadn't written back. Maybe he didn't want to text last night. Oh well, she told herself, getting out of bed and walking to the kitchen. But when she sat down for breakfast, she checked her phone again. He usually wakes up early, maybe he'll text now, she thought while blow-drying her hair, sitting at her vanity. She tried not to overthink it. Who knows, maybe there'd be a message now. Just then, her phone vibrated. Her heart leaped, thinking it was him, but it wasn't. It was her mom from the emergency room with a leg injury. She panicked, jumped up, and quickly changed clothes, trying to call her mom but no one answered. Worse, she didn't have her car today because Ji-hai had borrowed it. The phone rang, and Yumin immediately answered in a fluster. "Mom, why weren't you picking up? Is it serious?" But the voice on the other end wasn't her mom's. "Yumin, it's Hyunju. Is something wrong?" She quickly explained the situation. Her mom had texted from the emergency room, saying something about a leg injury. "I was trying to get a taxi to go see her," he said without hesitation. "I'm on my way, it won't be long, start coming down." True to his word, he appeared just a few minutes later. She quietly got into the car, her heart still pounding, and they sped to the hospital. "Don't worry too much," Hyunju reassured her. "If it were really serious, your mom wouldn't have been able to text you." She slowly nodded, then turned to him. "Why did you call earlier? You didn't reply to my text last night." He said he had the day off today, so he was planning to see her. Yumin blinked. He had seen the message. He just didn't reply. She didn't know how to feel about that, but then she thought, he wasn't her boyfriend. He didn't owe her anything. Glancing at her from the corner of his eye, Hyunju asked, "Did you have fun with your ex yesterday?" She looked out the window. "Yeah, I guess so. We went to a musical and then had dinner." His hands tightened on the steering wheel, the veins on them clearly visible. "Did it feel like before?" She hesitated for a moment, then replied, "Not really. I was tired. My mind was elsewhere, thinking too much." "Thinking about what?" She hesitated. "Just silly things, not worth mentioning." He didn't press further. He just looked at her silently when they stopped at a red light. Arriving at the hospital, Yumin rushed to her mother's side. Her mom said she fell on the subway and sprained her ankle. Luckily, it wasn't serious. A moment later, her mom squinted at the space behind Yumin. "Wait, my eyes are playing tricks on me. Or is there a man standing behind you?" Just then, Yumin remembered she hadn't made an introduction. "Hyunju, this is my friend. He brought me here." Hyunju bowed politely. "Hello, ma'am. It's nice to meet you. I'm Oh Hyunju." Yoonmin's mom beamed. "Ho ho, it's a pleasure to meet you. My daughter has such a tall and handsome friend." When they left the hospital, Hyunju carried Yoonmin's bag without being asked. Her mom quietly observed his attentiveness, the way he spoke, the way he treated her daughter. When they got home, Yoonmin's mom whispered, "You can go home now if you want." But Hyunju shook his head. "I have the day off. It's fine." She still felt bad, thinking he should be resting. Her mom suddenly asked, "So what do you do for a living?" He calmly replied, "I'm a chef. I have my own small restaurant." Yoonmin's face flushed. "Mom, go rest in your room," she said through gritted teeth, pulling her arm. "Didn't you already interrogate him in the car?" But her mom brushed her hand away, smiling as she continued talking to Hyunju. "So, where do you live? Do you live alone?" He answered politely, "Yes, I live alone near Ga-yoon's house." Then her mom dropped the question, "Are you actually dating anyone? What do you think of my daughter?" Yoonmin turned pale. She was so embarrassed that her mom was interrogating him like this right after they met. She wanted to disappear on the spot. Luckily, seeing her daughter's horrified face, her mom laughed lightly and backpedaled. "Sorry if this old lady is being too nosy. I was just curious and asking random things." Hyunju chuckled lightly. "It's okay, really." Yoonmin looked at him gratefully. He was surprisingly calm and answered very tactfully. Her mom even packed him some side dishes to take. He politely thanked her. "Thank you, ma'am. You've gone through a lot of trouble today. Next time you come to my salon, I'll give you a killer hairstyle. Also, if you want anything else to eat, just let me know." Hyunju replied, his face beaming with happiness. "If you have time, please visit my restaurant. I'll treat you to a delicious meal." Her mom's face lit up. "Of course! Give me the address." Standing nearby, Yumin watched quietly, knowing exactly why her mom was so interested in him. But what surprised her most was that Hyunju didn't seem uncomfortable at all. In fact, he was more sociable and natural than ever. A while later, they arrived at Yunmin's front door. "Thank you," she said softly, taking the bag from him. "I feel so bad for making you run around on your day off." "I wanted to. Plus, I got free food," Hyunju replied. "So don't feel bad about it." He handed her the bag but didn't let go immediately. His fingers still gripped the handle, as if he wasn't ready to leave. Yunmin hesitated, then said softly, "Do you want to have some coffee before you go?" So there they were, sitting in her living room again, sipping warm coffee. But Yunmin felt a strange awkwardness. Was it because it was her house, or just because it was too quiet? It wasn't the first time they were alone together like this, so why did the air feel so tense? After finishing their coffee, Yunmin stood up to wash the cups, while he leisurely walked around the apartment. "It's cleaner than the last time I was here," he said, glancing around. She laughed, remembering his first visit when the place was a bit messy. "Do you usually clean up after work?" she asked. "Sometimes after work, sometimes before," he answered briefly. She raised an eyebrow. "You're only saying that because I can't check for myself." He stepped up behind her, stopping very close, and she tensed as he leaned in. "Then come to my place next time," he said. She blinked. "Your place? I mean, I've dropped you off at your home many times." "But you never invited me up," Yunmin thought, still holding the cup under the running water without replying. The water overflowed and wet her sleeve. Noticing this, Hyunju said nothing, but gently took her wrist and rolled up her sleeve. "My place is 502, he said. "Just come up to the 5th floor next time." Their eyes met, and an unspoken feeling lingered in the air. Then he whispered as a reminder, "Don't forget, Yunmin, the 5th floor." Meanwhile, Hong So-young sat on the film set, her eyes glued to her phone. Yunmin hadn't texted her, so she had no idea if Yunmin ended up going to the musical with her ex-boyfriend. But from what she could see, Yunmin's ex still seemed to care. They might as well just get back together. Hong So-young muttered irritably, so Hyunju doesn't get his hopes up. Just then, her assistant entered. He reported that on the cooking show she recently joined, the head chef was unavailable due to an overseas business trip, so they couldn't film. Hong So-young said scornfully, "Great, how dare they cancel when they're supposed to be working with me?" The assistant gave a weak smile. "I feel bad for the production team. They must be frantically looking for a replacement." Hong So-young's eyes lit up, as she surely had someone in mind. The next day, a staff member from the show came to Hyunju's restaurant to invite him to be on the show. Tae-gun, who was chatting with someone in front of the restaurant, nearly shouted, "Hyunju, get in here, come see this. They're inviting you on TV." Hyunju, who was busy in the kitchen, came out to see what was going on. Later that night, after the restaurant closed, Hyunju sat down with Tae-gun, still baffled. "Why did they suddenly invite me? Who cares?" Tae-gun waved his hand excitedly. "They probably saw your photos online. In any case, this is a huge deal. That show is very popular. It's great promotion for the restaurant." Hyunju recalled Yunmin's encouraging words. "You shouldn't pass up opportunities like this." He thought for a moment, then finally nodded. "Why not? It could be good for everyone." Tae-gun beamed and hugged him. "I can't believe it. You, the guy who won't even post a selfie. Now you're going to be on TV." On the day of filming, Hyunju arrived early. After his makeup was done, he sat in the waiting room and texted Yunmin, "I'm ready, just waiting now." She replied right away. "I'm a bit nervous," he confessed. "Can you talk with me until I calm down?" They texted back and forth for a while, having a light-hearted conversation. Yunmin said she had a meeting and would have good news to share later. They wished each other luck, and Hyunju couldn't stop smiling to himself like a boy texting his crush. When the other chefs arrived, Hyunju greeted them politely, but behind his back, the film crew noticed the other chefs weren't being very friendly. "They're intimidated by that handsome chef's aura, even though they were so boastful earlier," a staff member whispered. Meanwhile, the chefs whispered among themselves, "He was only invited for his looks. Anyone calls themselves a chef these days. TV stations are all the same. He was only invited for his looks. Nowadays anyone can call themselves a chef, and all the TV stations are like this. It's just for clickbait." The assistant helping Hyunju change heard it all and frowned, but Hyunju didn't seem bothered. His calm expression remained unchanged while he dressed. In truth, he wasn't even paying attention. His mind was far away, thinking only of Yunmin. He wondered when he could see her after filming. As the recording started, the MC introduced Hyunju as the replacement chef. Immediately after, the guest walked in. When Hyunju turned around, his breath caught. It was the rising star actress, and Hong So-young. His ex-girlfriend, Hong So-jung, looked directly at him with a radiant smile. It was obviously not a coincidence. He instantly realized she had orchestrated this. He sighed, not expecting she would set this up. "To arrange to be on the same show as me. Why the sudden change? She used to be so afraid. She doesn't even care anymore if people see us together. This is a public show, so there's nothing I can do about it. A moment later, the MC asked the guests to choose their partners. For the cooking challenge, as the veteran actress, Hong So-young got to pick first. She walked over to the line of chefs with a charming smile. She stopped right in front of Hyunju and said clearly, "Today, I would like to work with Chef Oh Hyunju. I hope we work well together, chef." Her smile was bright, as if there was never any history between them. Meanwhile, Yumin and Ji-hyun finished their meeting and stepped outside, politely bidding farewell to their partners. The moment they were out, Yumin smiled, in a cheerful mood. "See? It wasn't a scam. They genuinely want to partner with us." Ji-hyun was still stunned, finding it hard to believe. "I can't believe this is happening." They had just closed a major partnership deal with a prestigious company. Yumin couldn't hide her excitement. "Finally, things are looking up," she said to Ji-hyun, her face radiant. But Ji-hyun crossed her arms, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah, I can see that. Your love life seems to be going pretty well lately too." Yunmin's expression froze. "What are you talking about?" she asked, frowning. "I'm talking about you and Hyunju," Ji-hyun said bluntly. "The way you two look at each other has been different lately." Yunmin sighed, feeling caught. "No, we're just friends," she insisted. "We became friends. I just haven't gotten around to telling you." Ji-hyun eyed her, a mix of suspicion and amusement. "So why hide a friendship? Keeping a friendship secret makes even less sense." But before Yunmin could answer, Ji-hyun suddenly remembered something. "Oh, that's right. That reminds me, Taegun just told me Hyunju is going to be on a TV show. And guess what? Hong So-jung is also appearing." Yunmin's expression faltered. "Wait, wasn't Hong So-jung on that show just recently? Why is she on it again?" Ji-hyun laughed, recalling something else. "Oh, and Hong So-young visited their restaurant one day too." Taegun went on and on about it, bragging that he got her autograph. He was still smiling about it that night. Ji-hyun suddenly stopped, smirking. "You know, I just had the craziest thought." "What is it now?" Yunmin asked, confused. Ji-hyun tried to suppress a laugh. What if Hong So-young secretly developed a crush on Hyunju after visiting the restaurant, and that's why he got invited on the show? "Ji-hyun, don't joke like that," Yunmin snapped, her voice suddenly tense. Both of them froze at her reaction. Yunmin was stunned, surprised at herself. "Sorry, it's not nice to gossip," she mumbled, trying to de-escalate. "They probably just happened to cross paths for work." It was just a harmless joke, but Yunmin's reaction was unusually strong. Ji-hyun nodded, feeling a bit awkward. "Yeah, right. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. No, I overreacted," Yunmin said with a forced smile, telling herself she was just worried for her two friends. But deep down, she didn't even realize the true fear that was creeping into her heart. A fear called Hong So-jung. Meanwhile, on the set of the show, both teams were busy preparing their dishes. Paired with Hong So-young, Hyunju calmly guided her. "Hong So-young, once you finish chopping, add the water to the pot." Hong So-young flinched at how casually he used her name. Flustered, she dropped the lemon she was cutting. She bent down to pick it up, mumbling an apology, but just as she straightened up, her head hit the edge of the cutting board, and the large knife slid swiftly off the table. Hyunju grabbed the knife, threw it aside, and put his hand over Hong So-jung's head, protecting her from getting hurt. The camera crew immediately rushed over, stopping the recording. "Are you two okay?" they asked worriedly. "We're fine," Hyunju replied calmly. Hong So-young also nodded, still a bit shaken. Everyone thanked Hyunju for his quick reflexes, but Hong So-young just kept staring at him. He caught her gaze, glanced back for a moment, then quickly turned away, not wanting to get involved. After the shoot, Hong So-young approached him and bowed her head. "Thank you," she said softly. Hyunju remained expressionless. "I'll be more focused in the kitchen next time." "I didn't mean to cause trouble," Hong So-young said quickly, looking at him. "Please believe me." "I believe you," Hyunju replied, his voice firm. "But you should know, I would have done the same for anyone." Hong So-jung gave a faint smile, though there was a hint of sadness in it. "Yes, I know," she replied softly. "I know that." The other chef standing nearby found it strange, because Hong So-jung was usually very arrogant, but in front of that chef, she immediately starts fawning. Some men gossiped behind her back. "How shameful, right everyone?" Hong So-young's assistant asked the director to cut that scene. To avoid trouble, the director immediately agreed, but the truth was, later, the clip of Hyunju saving Hong So-young was posted online and quickly went viral. Social media was buzzing with comments about them, saying they looked like a couple straight out of a movie. But after just one night, Hyunju had gained thousands of new followers. Yunmin stared at her phone, scrolling through the posts. It felt so strange. She remembered how much he used to hate having his picture taken, but now he was different. But she couldn't even clearly remember what he used to be like, maybe because they had been seeing each other so often lately. As she was standing there, a man approached her. He looked a bit drunk, swaying on his feet. "Are you waiting for someone?" His voice was overly eager. "Do you have a boyfriend?" Yunmin knew immediately what he wanted. "Calm down," she told herself, then smiled and lied. "My husband is on his way." The man blinked, clearly surprised, and stammered, "Sorry." He backed away but didn't leave completely. His friends also lingered nearby, curious to see if she was telling the truth. Then they saw a man approaching. "I'll be joining you and your husband tonight. For some reason, I don't really like that idea." Hyunju's voice from behind startled Yunmin. She whipped around, her eyes wide with shock, her face flushing with embarrassment. Realizing he had heard everything, Hyunju said casually, "Sorry I'm late." Then he glanced around. His cold gaze landed on the group of men watching. "It's dangerous to stand out here at night," he said in a calm but firm voice. The group of men saw him and quickly dispersed, whispering to each other as they left. Yumin was still mumbling in embarrassment. "Aren't you uncomfortable with suddenly becoming so famous?" Hyunju's expression softened a little. "I was only thinking about one thing," he said calmly. "I was wondering what you would think." Yunmin's face flushed at his words. Flustered, she hurried towards the stairs, stumbling over her words. "I think you're amazing. I could never do what you did." Hyunju followed behind her, his voice steady. "You can't be sure about that," he said gently. "Reacting instinctively is something anyone can experience. If you were in a situation like that, you might have acted the same way." Yunmin stopped, her heart pounding, her mind drifting away. Perhaps she had known since their first chance encounter. The day she huddled in his arms, she must have felt it instinctively, that he would always help her no matter what. He seemed cold, but he had comforted her so many times. Even though his way was always clumsy and rough, she was sure now that Hyunju was a good, quiet, deep, and kind person. And the day he pulled her close, looked into her eyes and said, "Don't be flustered." Her heart had beaten faster than she wanted to admit. And somehow, she was also sure of this. He would never make her feel confused, unlike Kim Isun, and she was the first to recognize a diamond in the rough like him. She stopped and turned to look at him. His eyes met hers, calm and steady. Those people online would never understand how warm and deep those eyes were. Something was stirring inside her. "Yunmin," Hyunju called softly, noticing her strange expression. But before he could ask more, Yunmin grabbed his shoulders and kissed him. Hyunju froze, completely surprised. It took him a moment to realize what had just happened. When she pulled away, they looked at each other, breathing heavily. Then Yunmin quickly turned away, her face bright red, hiding behind her hair. Hyunju gently took her wrist, a faint smile on his face. "Yunmin, what was that?" Her legs felt weak, and she crouched down, still hiding her face. "Sorry, my body just acted on its own," she mumbled. "I'm not asking for an apology," Hyunju said, still holding her hand. "Do you regret kissing me?" he asked in a low voice. Yunmin didn't dare to look up, keeping her head down, her hair covering her face. Hyunju bent down and tucked her hair behind her ear, his fingertips lightly brushing her cheek. "Because if you regret it, I don't know what I'd do." "It's not that," Yunmin finally admitted, her face bright red. "She was just too embarrassed." He chuckled softly. "Embarrassed about kissing me outside? It's dark here," he added with a mischievous smile. "It's dark anyway. No one could see clearly." His teasing tone made her glare at him. "Please stop talking about the kiss." "Then stop hiding," he replied calmly. "Why are you hiding your face when I'm the one who got kissed?" Annoyed, she glared harder. "Fine, I'm just trying not to do it again, okay?" He laughed lightly. "But I wouldn't mind if you wanted to do it again." "Oh my." Yunmin's heart pounded even harder. "How can you say things like that so easily?" Still flustered, she looked down and mumbled, "I should apologize." "Apologize for what?" "I didn't kiss you with pure intentions," she confessed in a small voice. "I saw those posts online and it sparked all sorts of petty, selfish thoughts. I'm confused about my feelings. I just wanted to see if you felt the same way. I acted impulsively without thinking, and it wasn't right at all." The more she spoke, the hotter her face became. "Now I just feel so childish, jealous like a schoolgirl." For everyone's information, you're at chapter 46, and this is when they finally stop being so formal with each other. The wall between them is down, no more formal pronouns. Everyone, get ready for their public displays of affection. Hee. Hyunju listened silently, his eyes never leaving her. To him, she wasn't selfish at all. She was just being adorably and naively honest. He found it precious that she could even voice those thoughts. Most people wouldn't dare. He sat down next to her, glancing at her with a slight smile. "If you choose me, I don't mind seeing all of you, not just the pretty parts. I want all of it." He looked at her and said gently, "Yunmin, I've told you before, I like everything you do to me. So no matter what you do, I'll accept it all." His voice lowered with sincerity. "I just ask you not to leave me. Don't leave me alone." Yunmin turned her face away, feeling her heart pound wildly again. Her whole body felt hot. How could she not be moved after hearing words like that? She screamed silently in her head. She sneaked a glance at the man beside her. This person was so loving, so sincere and devoted. He wanted to give his entire self to the person he loved, and in return, all he wanted was love and companionship. But that's also why his last relationship ended, wasn't it? She took a deep breath and made a decision. "I can't do things halfway." Her voice was calm now. "I want to make a clean break with my ex." Before starting something new, she looked at him seriously but added softly, "But it won't take long. So, will you wait for me?" Hyunju looked at her for a long time. Then with a gentle smile, he rested his head on her shoulder. "Of course, Yunmin," he replied without hesitation. Because he believed in her, and he believed in what they felt for each other. The next morning at the office, Yunmin sat in her chair, humming happily. Her cheerfulness was back, which her colleagues found strange. Colleagues were whispering about it when CEO Eon Ha, the vice president of VKM Fashion, arrived. Yumin and Eon-ha introduced themselves and shook hands, both hoping to learn a lot from each other. Miss Eon-ha brought a new energy to the company. The two sides would cooperate on development over the next few months. At that moment, Yumin felt that everything was perfect, from her career to her love life. She believed she could have both at once. That was some serious determination. The next evening, Yumin sat in her living room, sorting through old belongings. If she really wanted a fresh start, she had to let go of the past. Among the items were many of Kim Il-sun's family photos, which she couldn't throw away, so she decided to return them. Just thinking about it was uncomfortable, but she had made up her mind. If she was serious about starting something new, she couldn't hide anymore. Meanwhile, Hyunju got home from work and was waiting for the elevator. Kim Il-sun and his friend also just arrived. They greeted him casually. "Congratulations, you're famous now," Kim Il-sun's friend grinned. Hyunju managed a small, awkward smile and said thanks. Kim Il-sun then suggested they have dinner and order in, but after a moment's thought, Hyunju said, "How about I whip up a few quick dishes?" Soon, they were all gathered at Hyunju's place, with a spread of many dishes. The atmosphere became lively as everyone raised a glass to celebrate his hard work. They chatted for a while about work. Later, when his friend went to the restroom, Kim Il-sun blurted out, "How's the cat doing? It must have gotten bigger." "Doing great," Hyunju replied, pulling out his phone to show a picture as he went to the kitchen for more drinks. Kim Il-sun glanced at the phone screen, and then he saw a message from Choi Yoon-min. His eyes widened slightly, but he remained composed as Hyunju returned and picked up the phone. Before he could sit down, Hyunju's phone rang. It was an unknown number. "I'm going to take this outside," Hyunju said, and stepped out to answer it. Kim Il-sun's eyes followed him, curious about who was calling. Outside, Hyunju answered the phone. "Hello? Who is this?" A woman's voice answered bluntly. "Do I need a reason to call my future son-in-law?" "What?" Hyunju froze on the spot. Realizing it was Hong So-jung's mother, he sighed heavily, his hand on his forehead. "Ma'am, I told you your daughter and I broke up a long time ago." But the woman wouldn't let it go. "Stop it, you two are always lying. Do you enjoy deceiving me?" "What are you talking about?" he asked irritably. "I just saw you two on TV. So romantic. Don't waste your time trying to hide it." The woman's angry voice made his head throb even more. "You've misunderstood. That was just for work. Please don't call me again," he said and hung up, ignoring the woman's shouting and cursing. Hyunju let out a deep sigh and rubbed his temples. The frustration was suffocating. Why won't the past just leave me alone? Kim Il-sun's friend returned from the restroom to find Kim Il-sun drinking alone, looking dazed. He asked, "Where's Hyunju? Why are you spacing out like that?" He went to his room to take a call. "At this hour? It's late. It must be his girlfriend." Kim Il-sun stared blankly into his glass, his face pale, as Hyunju returned to the table. Kim Il-sun's friend asked nonchalantly, "Was that your girlfriend?" Hyunju sat down and replied simply, "I don't have one." The friend glanced at him curiously. "Was it that person you worked on the project with?" "No, it was just a wrong number," Hyunju said as he poured everyone a drink. But Kim Il-sun pressed on, "So are you still friends with that person?" Hearing this, Hyunju paused for a moment. The kiss from the other night flashed in his mind, and the corners of his lips turned up slightly. "I don't think we can be called friends anymore," he answered honestly. Hearing this, Il-sun turned to look at Hyunju with a probing gaze. "But why are you suddenly asking this?" Kim Il-sun answered calmly, "Because I saw you received a message from her." Realizing it must be Yoon-min's message, Hyunju immediately pulled out his phone to check, and sure enough, it was from her. "What are you doing?" "I just finished cleaning and am resting now. I'm exhausted." He smiled and replied immediately. "So you're having dinner with friends at home?" Trying not to seem too distracted, he rejoined the conversation. "So are you dating anyone right now?" he asked, glancing at Kim Il-sun before he could answer. His friend burst out laughing and said, "He's about to get back together with his ex." Kim Il-sun chuckled and shook his head slightly. "Not exactly, I'm just trying." But Hyunju's attention was back on his phone, where Yoon-min had sent another message. "I'm so jealous, did you cook for them?" Without hesitating, he replied, "I'll cook for you too, whenever you come over. You already know where I live." A moment later, she replied, "Are you trying to lure me over with food? I know you won't fall for that trap." Hyunju chuckled reading her message. She was in a playful mood, and he felt relieved. Realizing he'd been on his phone for too long, he quickly turned to Kim Il-sun and said, "Anyway, I hope everything works out for you." "Yeah," he smiled. "Thanks, Hyunju. I'll introduce her to you someday." But just as he said that, miles away, Yoon-min was lying in bed, staring at the screen, her face flushing as she read his latest message. "It's okay if you don't fall into my trap, because I'll fall into yours." Today, Hyunju wasn't holding back. He was smooth and direct. The next morning, Yoon-min visited Kim Il-sun's father. It had been a long time since she'd visited, but the moment he saw her, he greeted her with a warm smile as if nothing had ever changed. She felt a lump in her throat and quietly apologized. "I'm sorry for taking so long to visit. I just couldn't find the courage to see you." But the man simply patted her shoulder gently, as if she were still family. The simple gesture brought tears to Yoon-min's eyes. She tried to hold them back, but they fell anyway. They sat down and talked. They caught up on everything that had happened, and Yoon-min smiled brightly as she talked about her recent achievements. He laughed. "Why did you stay away for so long? You had so much to share." Then, with a knowing smile, He asked. It was his fault, wasn't it? He can be really stubborn sometimes. He admitted his son could be frustrating. Later, he invited her to stay for dinner. As they were talking, someone came to the door. Yumin assumed it was Hakyung, as she had told her she'd be there. She got up excitedly to answer the door, but it wasn't Hakyung. It was Kim Isun, who had arrived unannounced. He also looked a bit surprised, but then he smiled calmly and greeted Yumin like he normally would. During dinner, as it got dark, his father asked in surprise, "What are you doing here?" Kim Isun calmly replied, "Hakyung told me you weren't well." It was obviously a setup by Hakyung, but his father just laughed and confessed, "I'm perfectly healthy." But he didn't stop there. He suggested Kim Isun drive Yumin home after dinner. Yumin tried to decline, but Kim Isun was insistent. She couldn't refuse again without being rude. After the meal, his father patted her shoulder, smiling warmly, "You're welcome here anytime." And so she found herself in Kim Isun's car. At first, they made small talk about work and their daily lives. Then suddenly, Kim Isun asked, "Are you dating someone?" Yumin looked straight ahead and answered honestly, "Not yet, but there's someone I like." His eyes stayed fixed on the road. "Do you want to date him?" The question made Yumin blush. Memories of her conversation with Hyunju came flooding back, and she admitted in a quiet but firm voice, "He's a good person. I want to get to know him better," she said, glancing at Kim Isun and adding sincerely, "I hope you meet a good woman too." Kim Isun kept his eyes on the road and replied, "I already did, but we broke up." Yumin sighed softly, glancing at him. "I'm not a good woman," she said, remembering how she had tried to hurt him with her cruel words. "But I guess I failed." Kim Isun turned to her in surprise. "What do you mean by that?" But Yumin didn't elaborate. She just leaned her head against the window, murmuring, "I'm tired." They drove the rest of the way in silence. When they got to her house, Yumin thanked him and hurriedly got out of the car, but Kim Isun stopped her, his voice more firm. "Wait, what did you mean before? Why did you want to hurt me? What did I do to make you suffer?" Finally, Yumin let out the question she had been holding in for so long. "Why did you date me?" Her voice trembled with emotion. "If it was only because you felt you owed me, you should have let go sooner. Why did you pretend your feelings were real and confuse me like that?" Her voice grew louder as she went on. The words poured out of her. "I heard everything that day. I heard you on the phone saying you were never once moved by me, not from the very beginning." "Kim Isun," he cut in. "Yumin, about that." All her pent-up emotions came rushing out. "Don't try to explain anything. I was standing nearby and heard what you said to that person with my own ears. You said you did everything just to repay a debt. You never loved me, missed me, or wanted to be close to me. You have no romantic feelings for me, right? And I heard you say it to someone else yourself. You said you did it all just to repay a debt. But now that it's really happening, I'm just more confused. Why did you keep me around if you didn't love me?" Kim Isun could only listen in silence. "I thought if you wanted to get back together, maybe I would feel better. But now that it's actually happening, I'm just more confused. Why did you hold on to me if you don't love me? Do you think I'm easy just because I love you?" She finally screamed, unable to hold back. For a moment, he said nothing, just staring at her. Then, slowly, he spoke. "Yumin." His voice was calm but heavy, as he spoke of not having feelings. "It doesn't mean I didn't feel anything at all." She held still. "When I was with you, I felt stable. I felt attached." He said with a steady gaze, "I want you to be happy. I want to be with you." His expression softened with his sincere words. "Isn't that also love?" Yumin gasped, unable to believe what she was hearing. "I don't think romantic attraction is the only kind of love. Why does it have to be about fluttering hearts or tension to be called love?" he said softly, recounting his story. "Well, this is the female lead's life. This situation is incredibly difficult. Her ex simply loves her, but Kim Isun's love is a gentle kind. Quiet, no drama, while Hyunju is a romantic, caring person who gives his all to the one he loves. Quiet, no drama. While Hyunju is a romantic, caring person who gives his all to the one he loves. It seems she's chosen the hardest path for herself, stuck between two men." Back when Kim Isun was 17, even though he attended an all-boys school, his friend asked curiously, "Why do you keep turning everyone down?" Kim Isun calmly replied, "Because I'm not attracted to anyone." His friend advised, "At least just try. Dating feelings might come later." But Kim Isun just shook his head. His friend advised, "At least just try dating. Feelings might come later." But Kim Isun just shook his head. He had no trouble making friends, but no matter how many people he met, he never felt that spark. "I just don't get it," his friend asked bluntly. "So are you impotent or something?" "Nope," Kim Isun replied coolly. "I have a completely normal libido, that's not the problem." His friend thought for a moment and said, "Maybe that's just how you're wired. Some people like one gender, some like both, and maybe some people don't feel anything for anyone." As a teenager, Kim Isun accepted that reasoning. At first it seemed odd, even childish, but as he grew older, he accepted it as a part of who he was. Kim Isun replied coolly, "I have a completely normal libido, that's not the problem." At least that was his plan until he met Yumin. She was one of his father's students like many others. Some like both, and maybe some people don't feel anything for anyone. As a teenager, Kim Isun accepted that reasoning. Caring for his father, her persistent dedication amazed him. How could someone be so devoted to another person's family? She seemed to be the very definition of love, so back then he thought the least he could do was return those feelings. Although he couldn't love her the way she wanted, he decided to be good to her and care for her. He had clearly asked her out of gratitude and guilt, but gradually, Her persistent love started to get to him. Even though his feelings weren't what she expected, he still convinced himself. Caring for his father, her persistent dedication amazed him. How could someone be so devoted to another person's family? She seemed to be the very definition of love, so at the time, he thought the least he could do was return those feelings. Even though he couldn't love her the way she wanted, he decided to be good to her. Taking care of her, he had clearly asked her out of gratitude and guilt, but gradually, her persistent love started to get to him. Even though his feelings weren't what she expected, he still convinced himself that this was also love because he was happy when he was with her. So it had to be love, right? Yumin stood frozen, speechless. I know it's hard for you to understand, he admitted softly, but I truly love you. When I said I would repay you for the rest of my life, it wasn't just because you helped my family. It was also because I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Yumin was almost silent, her face tense. Then from the very beginning, you should have told me you don't have romantic feelings, she screamed. I'm sorry I was selfish. Kim Il-soon confessed, lowering his head. He reached out, taking her hand. Please give me one more chance. My love is different from everyone else's, but I've always been sincere and serious with you. But Yumin gently pulled her hand away. What can be done now? She said softly, catching him off guard. Neighbors in the apartment building started coming out onto their balconies to witness this story. People started shouting. He already said it, just take him back. He said he loves you, sweetie. Give him a chance. It was a ridiculous situation and Yumin froze, completely mortified. Completely humiliated, she said coldly. We should talk later. She turned to leave, but Kim Il-soon called out to her. Yumin, can I call you? She paused, glancing back. No, she answered, her voice calm but firm. Don't call me until I call you. At the same time elsewhere, Hyunju sat quietly glued to his phone. He had called Yumin multiple times, but she wasn't answering. She had only texted earlier to say she was visiting her old teacher, who was also her ex-boyfriend's father. But after that, nothing. No replies, no returned calls. Hyunju stared at her unread messages, his heart sinking with every second that passed. Kim Il-soon drove home, still lost in thought about everything that had just happened, but neither he nor Yumin realized that she had left her phone in his car. Meanwhile, Yumin lay on her sofa after getting home, overwhelmed by everything she heard that night. She had no idea what the hell she just heard. Why did love have to be so complicated? She just wanted things to be simple. The next morning, Kim Il-soon's friend got up early for work. On his way out, he ran into Hyunju, who was just coming back from a morning run. They exchanged greetings. As Hyunju walked away ruffling his sweaty hair, Kim Il-soon's friend looked back a bit surprised. He'd never seen Hyunju look like that, exhausted as if he hadn't slept all night. At the same time, Yumin finally realized she had lost her phone. She messaged Kim Il-soon from her laptop, awkwardly asking if her phone was left in his car. It was so embarrassing, especially after telling him not to call her the night before. And now she was the one contacting him first. He replied right away, saying his friend had borrowed the car, but he would check. While waiting, Yumin went through her other conversations on her computer and got to the unread messages from Hyunju. He must have been so worried. She quickly replied, explaining that she lost her phone and couldn't reply, and was now messaging from her computer. But his reply was very fast. He said he was relieved and immediately asked if he could bring lunch to her. He wanted to see her. Yumin smiled at his message. Isn't he super busy these days? He's famous now, but he'd probably still come for her. From her seat nearby, Ji-hyun saw Yumin smiling to herself and gave her a surprised look. Yumin told Hyunju they could meet after work. He felt relieved, so truly relieved. So she wasn't ignoring him on purpose, she just didn't have her phone. His old anxieties had been eating away at him, but now things were truly different. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Hong So-young got a call from her mother. She figured she was calling for money as usual, but mid-conversation, Hong So-young suddenly froze. Her mother let it slip that she used to ask Hyunju for money too. Hong So-young's face went pale with shock. Yumin called Kim Il-soon from Ji-hyun's phone, who told her his friend had found her phone and left it at his place. He explained he was in a rush this morning and didn't notice, but he'd be home late tonight. If you want, he added, you can let yourself in and get it. The passcode is the same. Yumin paused, then insisted that she would wait. She felt it was wrong to just enter his house unannounced, especially now that they were no longer dating. She decided to stop by around 9 p.m. when Kim Il-soon would be home. Then she could wait at the nearby park to meet Hyunju since he usually finished work around 10. The plan seemed perfect. As planned, she went to Kim Il-soon's house to retrieve her phone, then politely said she had to leave immediately to meet someone nearby. So Kim Il-soon offered to see her out. It's dark, he said, pressing the elevator button. The elevator quickly came down from the 5th floor. The doors slid open, and inside were both Hyunju and Hong So-young, kicking off a ridiculously awkward situation. As all four of them stood face to face, Yumin froze her eyes wide in shock. Hyunju, aren't you supposed to be working? In fact, earlier that evening, Hong So-young had appeared at Hyunju's restaurant. The place was already closed for the night. Taegun had just stepped outside to throw out the trash and saw her standing right in front of the door. She pulled down her mask. Taegun blinked in surprise. It was really Hong So-young, the actress. She calmly asked if the owner was there. Still stunned, Taegun replied that Hyunju had gone home early. Taegun smirked, thinking Hong So-young must have a crush on Hyunju after what happened on the show the other day. But right then, Hong So-young stopped, her voice grew quiet. I used to date him. The smile on Taegun's face vanished, his expression freezing in shock. You what? He blurted out, his eyes widening. "I'm not lying," she said, sounding embarrassed. "If you don't believe me, I can show you old texts." She bowed her head politely, pleading. "Can you please help me?" At Hyunju's home, his phone suddenly rang. He rushed to it, hoping, but it was just a text from Tae-gun apologizing for something. Hyunju sighed, hoping it wasn't Yumin breaking another plate. Just then, the doorbell rang. His eyes widened. Could it be Yumin? After all, he had given her his address. He rushed to the door, his heart pounding. He opened it with a bright smile, but his face froze. It was not Yumin, but So Young. She immediately stepped inside, muttering an apology. His voice suddenly turned cold. "How do you know where I live?" "Tae-gun told me," she replied, taking off her wig. "When I told him we used to date." She looked at him, her expression serious. "I need to ask you something now," she said. "You gave my mother money, didn't you?" Hyunju paused, thought for a moment, then answered calmly. "That was a long time ago. I helped her a few times before you moved to your current place." Hong So-jung's face twisted with emotion. Suddenly, she started pounding on his chest with her small fists, her voice trembling. "Why would you do that?" She burst into tears. "You're struggling too, and you even paid my rent. You should have been angry. You should have made me pay you back. Why didn't you say anything?" "Weren't you angry?" Hyunju just stood there watching her. When she had calmed down a bit, he spoke in a steady voice. "I just thought if I gave your mother some money, maybe she would bother you less," he said indifferently, gently pushing her hands away. "But it's pointless to talk about this now. It's all over." "It's not over for me," Hong So-young shouted, her voice choked. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "You never complained about anything. You just loved me, despite everything. Even after all that, you still stayed." She sobbed, clinging to his sleeve. "So why are you leaving me now?" "It's because I'm worse than my mother, isn't it?" she whispered, trembling, still crying. She tightened her grip on his arm, sobbing and pleading. "I'm sorry for making you lonely, for being greedy, for making you worry. I'll change. I won't be stubborn anymore. Can you just reconsider?" But Hyunju didn't waver. Silently, he pried her fingers off his sleeve, his voice low but firm. "Hong So-young, stop crying. Go home. There's nothing left to say." He didn't want to drag it out. He booked a car for her and called the elevator. She followed silently, sniffling as she put on her mask. Just then, the elevator stopped on the 4th floor. The doors opened, and right in front of them was Yumin. Both of them froze, their eyes wide with shock. Before anyone could say a word, a voice called out, "Hyunju!" It was Kim Isun, stepping casually into the elevator. "Leaving work early today?" he asked. Hyunju gave a slight, awkward nod. Kim Isun glanced at Yumin, noticing she was still hesitating outside. "Yumin, aren't you getting in?" he asked. "I am," she replied, her voice tense, as she stepped inside. The four of them stood together in the cramped space. Hyunju's gaze never wavered for a second. He just stared intently at Yumin. Yumin felt his gaze. She glanced over and met his unblinking eyes, and her heart sank. Behind her, she heard a faint sniffle. Turning slightly, she noticed the woman behind her, with long hair and a mask, was looking at her. But it wasn't just her face that caught her attention. It was the phone with a very distinctive color. She had seen it before. Hong So-young's phone. Her heart sank. Could that be Hong So-young? Yumin's eyes fixated on the phone. But before she could think any further, the elevator reached the ground floor. Kim Isun, Yumin, and Hong So-young stepped out first. But Hyunju didn't move. Yumin stopped, her chest aching. This felt so wrong. She couldn't just walk away and leave Hyunju. "Hyunju, actually she was about to say when. A firm hand grabbed hers. She turned in surprise. It was Hyunju, holding her hand tightly, not letting go. Without a word, he pulled her back into the elevator, staring straight ahead. He said coolly, "Get home safe." Hong So-young's trembling voice came from behind them. Hyunju sensed something. Kim Isun turned back. "What are you doing?" But before he could get closer, the elevator doors slammed shut. And just like that,